Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Are you curious about financial literacy? Then take a look at Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO's new program on Parrot TV. It's called Financial Focus University. This is an excellent program to learn about questions related to your own finances post-COVID, if how you can manage your money, how you can work with your tax situation. And this is an excellent and informative discussion of financial literacy. With Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO, your financial problems will be solved at Parrot TV with Financial Focus University.
Politics here on Parrot TV. I am a journalist with the Parkchester Times, the Bronx Chronicle, Co-op City News, and others. So let me introduce my co-host, who we just heard has a new show here on Parrot TV, Mr. Anthony RIVIECCIO. So I'm anxious to see your new show.
Good morning, everybody. So am I. My name is Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO. As I tell our audience, I generally have 3 lives. My first and predominant life, somewhat related to the show. I am now celebrating my 31st year as a personal financial and income tax advisor. We do plan, I hope, on having income tax tips and strategies and recommendations on the show. My second life is I'm an adjunct professor for both CUNY and private universities. And my third life, which I guess brings me to this show, is that I'm in charge of a wonderful organization, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, is located both in the North Bronx and in China, because of redistricting, called Northwest Bronx Democrats.
China? Why do you say China?
Well, because as I'm sure we'll talk later, the redistricting maps that are now being contested in court, have like 29 different boundaries than they did before. For all I know, one of those boundaries could be China.
Right, and we're going to talk about that a little later, Anthony. But we have not 1, not 2, but 3 different Biden subjects to talk about. Let's go into our first subject, which is your specialty, Bidenomics. What is happening with our economy? Our stock market has tanked the past couple of days. What is going on?
Bob, let me take that a little bit closer to home. As we speak right now, the President of the United States has given an economic update as we speak. He's, of course, taking a lot of bowing this morning because of the employment reports. The U.S. government announced this morning that not only have the job numbers for November and December been revised up, but the January numbers have been outseeded. Our average capacity to grow jobs is about 200 to 250,000. Anything less is a disappointment. Anything higher is a very good number. This number came in at over 600,000.
Wow.
So of course, as we speak, the president is showing charts of how he believes this is unprecedented growth, that you could only compare it to the Ronald Reagan administration. And as we speak, he's actually showing charts to show that.
And what is the stock market doing? Is it up or is it down?
Oh, the stock market's having a down day, because I'm going to, and also keep in mind, even though he's making these announcements now, the numbers came out at 8:30 this morning. So the market has had much time to reflect. And to answer your question, the reflection is that it's going down. Why? I would suspect, and partially because of this presentation right now as we speak, is because, instead of Bidenomics, maybe we should start calling it Lionomics. Because,
wait a minute.
He's comparing these alleged gains, and I'll tell you why I say alleged in a moment, to the Reagan administration. And if you're an economic person and know about all of the wonderful gains that we did have job-wise in the Reagan administration, there really is no comparison.
Right.
we had all of these growth in jobs with no inflation attached.
Right, but under Reagan, inflation went up to 14%.
No. Inflation was at no. Inflation was at 12 to 14% when Ronald Reagan took office. Under a mechanism which we know today, in those days they called it voodoo economics, but as we know today it was called supply side economics, showed that when you increase the level of supply over the demand of consumers, not only can you grow jobs, but you can grow jobs in what we call a non-inflationary type of economy, which made inflation go down from 14% to 1989, where it went down to about 5%. And of course, it's been steady down since. So, the reality is that there is no comparison. But of course, as we speak, he is showing charts showing that his 1 year growth, he mentioned a number of 6.6 million people have had jobs in the last year. I like to know where. I really would. I mean, New York City looks like a ghost town at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'd love to know where these jobs are at. And also keep in mind, whoever has these alleged jobs, another thing that the president is missing in his conversation is, wages have gone up. Congratulations. So has inflation. So, I make an extra $1, but I got to spend another $2. Is that good quality of life? That sounds like the economic balance before the Reagan administration. So, instead of calling it Bionomics, I think Wall Street is calling it Lionomics. And that's why you see the market now going down 250 points 3.5 hours after these numbers have been public.
Well, it's like, Anthony, people tell me they remember when a Big Mac was 99 cents. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what is it now? About $6? I haven't had one.
I don't buy Big Macs, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I haven't had one in years. Okay. But while we're on the subject of Joe Biden, he was here in the city and he met with Mayor Adams to talk about gun control. Do you think anything came out of it?
I was hoping it would, but I got my report this morning that Eric Adams forgot one key component, and it was confirmed this morning. What he forgot was to bring brooms, right? Because if you really want to get rid of guns in New York City, I mean, let's start by cleaning the streets, right? So he didn't bring the brooms. So what did he bring? He brought his photo team. So it was a great photo op. I understand there's a lot of people mad they weren't part of the photo op. I understand some people snuck in, including some of our wonderful Bronx legislators that met him at the school in Queens later on to make sure they were part of the photo op.
Well, that was in Queens.
The bottom line is that as he spoke, and you should know this, Bob, because it's not too far from you, as he spoke, 2 people in Throgs Neck got shot on East Tremont Avenue. So, I'll give you a break.
Well, he went to Queens, and the Triborough Bridge was tied up for hours. Okay? People must have been really mad. I remember a motorcade one time. I was going into the city, and all of a sudden, there were 3 police officers on motorcycles coming right at me. What is it? It was a presidential motorcade, but I got an entrance to the bridge that nobody knew about. So,
Look, I don't think people would be that mad about a motorcade if you brought a check, right? He didn't bring a check because Adams would have told you he would have brought a check, right? So he didn't bring a check. He didn't bring brooms. Why did he come?
Well, just,
I'll tell you one reason why I'm sure he came, because I'm sure he wanted to get the latest update from our Attorney General, Ms. James, about the Trump situation.
True. But, it's year 2. Are we better off in year 2 than year 1, the previous administration? Or is it like Giuliani when he came in? Everybody said that Giuliani, he took care of crime. But it all started under Dinkins. Dinkins brought in the Safe Streets program, and Giuliani got the credit. Are we seeing that Donald Trump started something and Joe Biden's taking the credit?
Well, from economic terminology, partially from economic terminology. Nothing that Joe Biden has really created, except for the stimulus packages through the federal government, have really had any effect on our economy.
No. I don't see anything really better in the city here.
As far as the city goes, I mean, Eric's only been in there, 30 days.
Right.
I mean, the de Blasio failures, we can talk about for 99 days.
No. De Blasio was a real nice man. Really.
De Blasio was a real nice man. Oh, Bob, you're going to make my gray hair get gray.
Anthony, I got a chance to speak to him when he came to the Bronx with the City Hall in the Bronx. He wound up in Riverdale, and I got to speak to him for a few minutes. Did
you ask him why he's putting 3 homeless shelters in your area?
We'll get to that in a moment.
Well, you just said he was. No. I think we should get to it now.
That was before that. Guy. Well, no. We still have one more topic of Biden.
Okay, well then tell me why he's a good guy. Is he's bringing 3 homeless shelters into your area?
It's not him. It was people. It
was under the de Blasio administration. I believe your community board chairman said himself, we didn't want to talk to de Blasio about it because hopefully Eric Adams will get rid of it, which tells you this was submitted under the de Blasio administration. So I'll ask you again, if he's bringing 3 shelters into your area, why do you say he's such a good guy?
Because that was before he proposed the shelters. That was several years ago, Anthony. All right.
Several years ago, according to information that's now at your community board, the information was public as of October of last year. So what do you mean years ago?
You're talking oranges, I'm talking apples. It's 2 different
No,
things.
we're talking about a man that proposed 3 homeless shelters in your district, and you just called him a good guy. I'd like to know why you're calling him a good guy.
I'm not saying he was a good guy. He was
just
a decent person. Decent person. It's just that he was overwhelmed with the politics of the job. All right. And from different areas who were pulling at him. And that's why,
who was pulling at him? You mean like envelopes? Is that what you mean?
Anthony, where did the $870 million go for Thrive? We never knew. And
no, that's not true. No, that's not true. We'll know soon when the incoming commissioner,
Fernando Cabrera,
when he'll make that overview.
I doubt that. Fernando will probably say, "Where's mine? Where's my share?" And I'm sorry, Fernando, because we saw that with the Kingsbridge Armory. You had your hand out.
I'm still waiting for you to explain to me and the audience how you analogize Bill de Blasio, the man that destroyed the North Bronx, into a good guy.
I'm not saying he was a decent human being, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay, then I guess that must make the devil Mother Teresa.
Well, Anthony, we can go into a lot of our politicians, and we have.
That must make me Moses. Okay.
Well, look at your beard.
I must be Moses. Everybody follow me into the Red Sea of the Bronx.
We have one more topic of Joe Biden, and that's the buildup in Europe. 2,000 soldiers have been sent to Europe. They gave the Ukraine 2 choppers, I believe, or whatever. Are we ready for war with Russia again? We saw this many times before. When you and I were in school, what did we have to do? We had to put our heads under the table because we were afraid. That was during the Cold War era.
Bob, you don't have to go that far back. Sadly, you don't have to go that far back. You don't have to look no further than Afghanistan to answer your own question.
Yeah, but that's not a threat of a world war.
Who
Right
said we
now,
were threatening? I didn't say we were threatening. Obviously, Putin is threatening. And we
right.
already know what Joe Biden's response will be. If he's going to have the response he did in Afghanistan, right? And we're already seeing the remnants of
Yep.
that now, right?
Yep.
He's already calling the diplomats, hey guys, get out of there, but it's everything is okay, but get the hell out of there. I mean, you know.
Yeah, well, let's make a deal with the people that we called bad who made a deal with the previous president. Okay, we didn't like that, but we made the deal with the same people to get out. And look at what happened, like you say.
Well, that's why it's going to get worse. Because whether you like Donald Trump or don't like Donald Trump, you know what? Business people know how to make good deals.
Yep. You had 4 years of peace and prosperity here. Okay, this could be the final year of prosperity. All right, well, let's move on since I don't know, do you have anything else to say about Joe Biden? I don't hear anything. Anthony, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Forgive me. I apologize. I was having a Joe Biden moment.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, I was having a Joe Biden moment. You know, I'm really speechless. I'm really speechless. I'm not saying that he's not trying his hardest. What I just think is happening to him is a combination of bad advice, and then B, his own train of thoughts. And when you integrate the two, you got what we got. And it's in my opinion, a much more dangerous place than we've been in the past on many levels.
Well, we still have the state to worry about with Kathy Hochul. So let's move on to the state and city politics now.
How many envelopes you think Kathy Hochul got in the last 24 hours?
All I know is Jay Jacobs is a magician. Okay, to take a person who was unknown, really, that the former governor pushed aside, and now she's going to be probably reelected. He just cleared the field for her, and she will probably be reelected. But let's go to the subject of redistricting. All right, Anthony, you may see I'm wearing my Bronx Democrats t-shirt. And if you remember, on the previous show, when we talked about redistricting, I said, oh, good, Jamal Bailey now is my new state senator. I can run against him. Why was Jamal Bailey taking my area? It seems that the new Bronx Democratic County headquarters is 2 blocks from my house now. It's on Williamsbridge Road, right? I have my assemblywoman's office 1 block away around the corner. Now I have the Bronx Democratic County office 2 blocks away. Isn't that wonderful? I think I'll spend some time in the office like I did before.
Is that before or after you go visit the 3 homeless shelters in your area that your assemblywoman vehemently said she didn't want, and your city councilwoman, Velasquez, didn't even have the nerve to show up to give her position? Is that what you're referring to?
Well, while we're talking about redistricting, Tony, it seems that 2 of those 3 shelters are no longer in Assemblywoman Fernandez's district. She no longer has Blondell Avenue or Popham Street, where the other 2 homeless shelters are. They're now in the 82nd Assembly District for Mike Benedetto to worry about.
Well, that gets Bob to the bigger question, which is, as you started in the conversation, redistricting. We should let the audience know the congressional and state maps were approved by Kathy Hochul last night. If one looked at them today, of course, if one looked at them today, and if they were a newbie in politics, it would probably take them a half hour just to examine them. If you're an old timer looking at these maps, you're going to need 5 hours and some aspirin.
Yes, we were talking about that last night for about a couple hours.
Yeah, I mean, these maps are all over the map. And because they're all over the map, that's why they're currently in court. And what happens in court is anybody's guess. Again, envelopes. But, but I do agree they should be in court because, again, one look at these maps, I mean, they're just so unbelievably, I don't know what to call them. But I guess just to give some examples, since you gave some examples,
Right.
yeah, if these maps are reasonably true, then yes, Jamal Bailey will be the East Side State Senator. If these maps are true, the Richie Torres will be the congressman in Riverdale. Now, if both of those things sound impossible, welcome to the new world of redistricting.
Anthony, it seems, though, that Jamal Bailey is not going to be my state senator. He must have heard our show last week and said, oh, no, I don't want Bob Press in my district. You keep Biaggi. So it's basically the same district that Biaggi had. It comes across here.
No, not at all. Not at all. But again, I'm not going to talk about any individual district.
The thing is,
again, these maps are all over the map. So,
Anthony, look at it this way. I'm not in his district where the first map said I was, and you're no longer in his district. He got rid of both of us. Okay? So, hey, he's batting 1,000. But his headquarters will be 2 blocks away from me. So I'll be able to see him very often if he's in there.
I hear
you. So he won 2 battles but lost 1 battle. Now, the question with the congressional maps are, how do you connect Long Island district to the Bronx and Westchester? Is there a tunnel that goes from Long Island to the Bronx? I mean, I can't see. Do they count the water of people walking across water to get to the Bronx and Westchester from Long Island? Or is there going to be a new bridge built? I don't understand how that district can be.
Well, again, that's why, I think, the court challenge is an interesting challenge. They're not complaining about individual districts. They're complaining about the process. And I think it's very important to really understand that part of this situation. Right. The independent commission, whether they did their job or not, they were empowered to do it, not the legislature. And if that meant that we created a commission that had no teeth, then maybe we should give it some teeth. But it should not have gone back to the state legislature as per the referendum. And I use the word referendum because in simple terms, that word means power of the people. So, so from a court, but, as I've always said to you off the air, New York is one of the very few states that makes uncommon sense in politics, right? Yep. You could be a crook and run next year, right? That doesn't happen in 48 states. But here in New York is one of the 2 states where you could be found guilty of corruption, but still run next year.
Well, no, Anthony, the state passed gambling laws and legalized marijuana. And now the governor has set aside millions of dollars for gambling addiction and marijuana addiction. Okay, so I can see this supposedly drug clinic that we had in my district, 2500 Williamsbridge Road, opening up as a gambling addiction center, marijuana addiction center, and going into the drug addiction. So it will be there. It may take a year or 2, but I see that happening. And also, like you said, with these 3 homeless shelters, these people are going to need services because according to the Department of Homeless Services, they say that 1 in 4 people need services, whether they be addiction, whether they be finding a home, to residents, whether they need education. 1 in 4 people need services in these homeless shelters. And, I can't believe, like you say, but anything else about redistricting, Anthony, because Anthony is no longer in the 80th Assembly District. Anthony is now with the Admiral. And, it seems fitting, Anthony, because you were in the Navy and you're now with Admiral Jose Rivera.
I got a message this morning. We should say, also as we speak, they're having funeral services.
Well, we're going to get into that.
No, I know, but I just thought it was important, to mention.
That's going to wind up the show, Anthony. There's a surprise for you.
Good. No, good. That's all I'll say on it.
Well, I'm waiting for our commercial from our producer. We're at the halfway mark. Mr. Producer, do we have a commercial, or do we keep going? Obviously, we're going to keep going.
Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you. Are you curious about financial literacy? Then take a look at Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO's new program on Parrot TV. It's called Financial Focus University. This is an excellent program to learn about questions related to your own finances post-COVID, and how you can manage your money, how you can work with your tax situation. And this is an excellent and informative discussion of financial literacy. With Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO, your financial problems will be solved at Parrot TV with Financial Focus University.
Okay, we're back after our commercial. Anthony, that's 2 commercials for your program. How much are you paying for those commercials?
You know, I want you to know the Grand Poobah works out a very hard negotiable agreement. You know, his royalty fees are way below average. However, as you indicated, with all the extra advertising, it somewhat, makes the difference.
Well, all right.
Thank you.
Let's move on. I want to just say one thing that before, let's go to the next picture of the Pelham Parkway Neighborhood Association meeting, if we can. Okay, February 8th is at Barnes and Leidig Avenue in the Destination Tomorrow building is going to be the Pelham Parkway Neighborhood Association meeting. And the special guest is Councilwoman Marjorie Velazquez. And I'm sure that she will have some questions about the homeless shelters over there. So, all right, let's go back to the other picture with Mayor Adams, if we can. Now, this was Sunday where Mayor Adams came to Jacoby Hospital to thank the staff because of the shooting that was in the emergency room. He's showing his compassion for the people. Now, if you notice, he's looking at me because I'm taking the picture. And he's about to leave. And I said, how about a question from the community? And I asked him, why is Community Board 11 getting 3 homeless shelters of 540 men when the homeless responsibility is about 760 people? Where are the families? I said the 540 men will make up almost 75% of the homeless responsibility when DHS themselves only say 25% should be in a community board. His answer was, well, he started off, he was homeless and, a little bit of the de Blasio political stuff. And he said, well, I'll check with Department of Homeless Services on this and get back to you. As Anthony mentioned, last night was a meeting. Well, there were actually 2 meetings. The first one was a housing committee meeting with the Department of Homeless Services about the new shelter that they're proposing on White Plains Road at 2028 White Plains Road on the corner of Bronxdale Avenue. That is a commercial strip. And technically, we don't really know if homeless shelters are allowed in commercial strips. And the community board, unfortunately, has made a mistake. Al D'Angelo, the chair of the community board, said, yes, we were notified in October that this was coming, but we didn't want to go to de Blasio because he was the one proposing it. He said, we wanted to wait for the new mayor to come in and see if Mayor Adams could do something about it. Well, at the meeting last night, it sounded like DHS never spoke to Mayor Adams. So time I see him, I'm going to remind him, whatever happened with DHS, what did they say to you? And he's going to say, well, I didn't have time because Joe Biden came in. We have the officers that were shot.
Hey, Robert, question for you in regards to that picture.
Yep.
Was City Councilwoman Marjorie Velasquez there?
No.
So far, in regard to this homeless shelter, right? So far, she wasn't at the committee meeting last night. She wasn't at the public meeting last night.
Right, which came out.
She wasn't in her neighborhood, right? Because this is in her neighborhood, right? To meet the mayor, to maybe even discuss.
Anthony.
Right? No. Wait a second, Bob. We're talking about your area. We're talking about your city councilwoman, the woman that you just put up in that last picture, which, by the way, I think you should make a little disclosure. You are an executive board member of that organization, which you forgot to mention. So, here you are promoting your group with a city councilwoman that's not participating in city policy. So I hope you, of all people, have a lot of questions for her, especially in regards to her not being present.
Anthony, no elected official was at this press conference by the mayor. Okay, it was a last-minute thing, and since I live only about 10 blocks from Jacoby, I just walked over and I attended.
Bob, I'm sure the elected officials of the affected neighborhood knew.
No, they didn't.
Whether there were other things happening, that's subject to scheduling.
There was very little media here too. There were only 2 TV cameras, and one of them was from the city, which is from the mayor's office. All right, it was a very limited number of people. All right, but let's go into the homeless shelters.
Wait, what are you saying? Limited number of people? So you're saying Marjorie couldn't have gotten in? Is that what you're saying?
No, he came at
come on, Bob. I mean, let's add up 1 + 1 is 2. I'm just saying you put up from your organization without disclosure with about a city councilwoman that's going to be there to answer questions. I think she should be asking questions instead of answering because she hasn't been present at any of these meetings that you're over here promoting.
Anthony, what did you say about Mayor Adams? He's here only a month. We can't beat him up. All right.
How long has Marjorie Velasquez lived and represented your neighborhood?
How long?
Yeah.
1 month.
Say that again?
1 month, because she lives in Thrive.
I said, no. See, again, you're not listening. You're not listening to the question. I said, how long has Marjorie lived and represented your area?
I told you 1 month since you became.
That's not true. That's not true. Hasn't she been a community board member there, and for how long?
Community board 10.
I said represented. I didn't say elected. I said represented. She
was on a different community board.
How long was she a community board member?
Anthony, so you're saying then that I was on community board 8, I was representing.
I'm not talking about 8. I'm talking about the 3 shelters in board 11. Let's stay focused. Let's stay focused. The focus thing is she's been there for at least 10 years or more, living there, and she's been an activist and a representative of Community Board 11 for over 10 years or more. So don't act like she's brand new and don't know what's going on. The one that's brand new and don't know what's going on is Oswald Felix, who, in my opinion, did a terrific job at that so-called hearing, where he made, I thought, were very good suggestions and stayed from beginning to end. So again, let's
not going to say anything about Oswald.
Oswald Felix doesn't represent the 13th Council District. Marjorie Velasquez does.
And the homeless shelter is in Oswald Felix's district.
Again, Bob, and I told you off air last night, you got to stop being selective with your factual information.
No, I'm not.
That meeting had to do with all 3 shelters. Yes, White Plains Road, but the other 2 as well.
Anthony, this meeting.
What? Are we forgetting that with your selective amnesia, with your selective promotion? Are we forgetting that? That meeting had to do with all 3 shelters.
Anthony, this meeting was just for the homeless shelter on White Plains Road. That was the
I suggest, you know what? Anybody on Facebook or on any social media, the actual hearing is public.
Yes.
Okay, so you tell me how many people were talking about the non-White Plains Road public.
I did myself.
There were
I
quite
did
a bit.
myself because I said I spoke to the mayor and asked him about the 3 shelters. Okay, but it was Eric Drinkwater from DHS who said, you know, she tried to be smart by saying, "Oh, there are 16,602 single homeless adults." They're, you know, saying that.
My question has nothing to do, or my statement has nothing to do with what you said or didn't say. What I am trying to show you is that, again, that flyer, which comes from your organization, which you did not disclose you were a member of, is promoting a city councilwoman that has these 3 homeless shelters in her district, and she hasn't shown up to say whether she likes the idea, doesn't like the idea. Let's see if we can have some modifications to the idea. But you're not promoting her like she's the next godsend.
Anthony, she was at the Morris Park Community Association and spoke. They asked her about the White Plains Road shelter, and that was the only topic.
Bob, how many people were at the Morris Park Community Association?
Anthony, you know
how many people were there, Bob?
There were about 200 people. And you know what, Anthony?
You just said, no, wait a minute. You just said the Morris Park Community Association.
Oh, at that one, there were only about 25.
Oh, so you're comparing the two?
Maestro's had 200 people.
And was she there?
But you know what happened? You know
was she there, Bob? Yes or no?
Well, no. But you know what came up, Anthony? What came up at Maestro's was a couple of people said, well, what happened? The board was able to move Stillwell Avenue under the former councilman, and one person even said, oh, that's because it was a block away from his house. Okay. I mean, you had the former councilman move Stillwell Avenue. There was a proposed homeless shelter there. He got it moved and got it moved to Pompton Street. It is now in Marjorie's lap. This all started under the former councilman, Mark Jonai. Okay, whether the mayor was getting back at Jonai for what Jonai was doing, I don't know.
Actually, Bob, it's the other way around, Bob. It's the other way around. Again, you got to take your biasness out of government policy. Mark Jonai did not propose 3 homeless shelters. Mayor de Blasio did.
Well, 2 of them that you talk about that weren't in this meeting were under the former councilman, Mark Jonai. This one comes under Councilwoman Marjorie Velazquez.
And I'll say it again. Where did the proposals come from? Did they come from Mark Jonai's office?
They come from Department of Homeless Services,
right, which is under the mayor's office, correct?
What happened was there was a RFP, and you know what RFP is, request for proposal for a homeless shelter, and this was brought in, and they took this one. Okay, like I said, she was...
Bob, as I said to you, and I've always said to you, if you want to save or better yet, forget save, if you want to know how bad the destruction of your neighborhood is going to get, all you have to do is look at Bedford Park, okay? The mayor's office destroyed Bedford Park, and all of the things that the mayor has done before he left office, that of course now the Community Board 11 is hoping the new mayor will change, is right now coming, straight your way. Okay, as you indicated, you didn't even notice last night, as you indicated, but now it's all known, and it came up last night. That is now a commercial area that they want to put a homeless shelter in. You know what? When you talk about 20 years of rezoning and you talk about Bedford Park, you know what? I told you what it sounds like to me. It sounds like Webster Avenue all over again.
Correct.
So you're about ready to get hit with a very big rezoning problem.
I agree with you.
Don't blame Mark Jonai for that. Again, I don't see your city council person anywhere.
Right, but that area you're talking about is in Councilman Felice's district, not Marjorie's. She's across the street.
I'll say it again. The topic had to do with 3 homeless.
No, it didn't. No, it was one.
It did, Bob. And let me ask you a very simple question.
The topic was 1 homeless shelter at
Bob, it was 3. And how? And in 2 of those 3, aren't those in Marjorie's district?
Anthony, The meeting was
Well,
called.
why can't you answer the question?
All three.
I just said, are 2 of those 3 homeless shelters
Yes,
in Marjorie's
they're in the
district?
13th
Yes
council district.
or no?
Yes, they are in the 13th council district.
Thank you.
Okay, but, and I say but, the meeting.
There's a but? Okay, go ahead.
Anthony, I was introduced as a consultant to the community board because of my knowledge on this. And because
No, you were introduced as a guest speaker, I believe. But
no, I was a consultant. I was the first
Okay.
one speaking right after the board members. And even before other board members, I spoke because I was knowledgeable on this. And I corrected DHS that there isn't 16,600 single homeless men. There's only 12,500. And she said that they're under an edict that they have to provide shelters for everybody. They're not. It's only for families that they have to provide shelter. Okay? There were a lot of things. I have 3 pages here that I'm not even going to talk about because you know what? You're just going off topic trying to save Mark Jonai. What is Mark Jonai running for state senate?
I'm talking about 3 homeless shelters in your area that between the board meeting and the committee meeting, almost 200 people participated last night. Right. You don't think that's important?
Right. And you know who was there? The male.
Everybody was there. Everybody was there. The contenders and the pretenders.
Right.
Everybody was there.
We saw, hi, I'm the male district leader. And people looked, who is he? Okay. When was Marco Sierra on the east side last? Tell me. You know?
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you.
I mean, he gave a good speech as a district leader, but he's running for re-election. Okay. Mr. John Sicaro, who you know, was there too. He's either going to run for district leader or assembly or whatever. Okay. He doesn't know yet. But he was there also making a good speech that he lives there. Okay. Marco Sierra lives over by you, by Montefiore Hospital. So this isn't affecting him. It's affecting people like myself and John Sicaro Jr. Okay. Plus, there was other people, one person, a woman, Christine Culpepper, who's running for the state committee, who spoke. She was actually the first speaker. And one of her running mates was in the audience. And I said to him, aren't you a board member? And the words were, shut the F up. He didn't want to be known as a board member there. Okay, because he's running for state committee also. And he didn't want anybody to know he was a board member. All right. His opponent who's running against him were 3 seats away and laughing at all of this. Okay. I mean, you know.
Wait a minute. So then you're saying that the outcries of the public meeting are true because the outcries of the public meeting last night was blame the appointed and elected officials.
Many of the people were blaming Mark Jonai because he was the councilman for the first 2. All right.
Those weren't the cries I heard. I heard a lot of Marjorie cries and sadly a lot of cries for Al D'Angelo.
Oh, and Al admitted that he waited. They got the notice in October and he waited for the new mayor, like we said. Okay. And the person who got to the new mayor was me on Sunday to ask him about this. Obviously, nothing has happened yet because other things took priority. Okay. I will probably see the mayor in a couple of weeks and ask him, okay.
You know, Bob, that's not a good look for you, though.
What's that?
I mean, it was good that you got to ask him a question. It was good you got to, I guess, you know, raise the profile of it. But in the end, it don't look like it was effective.
We'll find out as time goes.
We just found out. You told me that you saw him Saturday, Sunday. You asked him a question. His response to you was, I'm going to get back to you and the affected people ASAP. A couple of days later, a committee meeting takes place, and you said it yourself. It was like, Bob, what are you talking about? Ain't nobody get back to us. What are you talking about? So obviously, it didn't sound that effective.
DHS, Department of Homeless Services, went on as if it's a done deal. All right. Sure. You and I both know that things can change. We saw that Mark Jonai got the Stewart Avenue homeless shelter moved to Compliment Street. You know, so obviously things can happen. All right. I'm not.
Bob, again, and this ain't about defending or putting down. Mr. Jonai. Although I will say, again, in full disclosure, I'm a very big advocate of full disclosure. Yes, it
And
was
you
our
worked for his
organization
campaign.
that put him in office. But, you know, if you're going to mention things like that about Mr. Jonai, you should also mention how he reduced some of the affordable housing that was coming into the area, that the area had heart
And
attacks.
Anthony, let's give full disclosure that Mr. Jonai's family are real estate people and own buildings. All
Well,
right.
you can say that, but everybody knows that. But you know.
Let's just disclose that about Mr. Jonai's family.
Well,
Okay.
everybody knows that. You're not disclosing anything people don't already
Not everybody
know.
might know that. Okay. Let's not beat a dead horse here, Anthony. Now, obviously we're getting to the end of the show. Nope, I see we still have 15 minutes, but let's move on to Mr. Benny Katea, who is holding up the Park Just-The-Times. Mr. Benny Katea was a very important person in the Bronx Democratic Party organization. He was a key person when it came to petitioning, when it came to strategy, and when it came to who should run for what position. And unfortunately, Mr. Katea, as I said last week, passed away. Now, Anthony and I went to view his body, and he looked just like he did in the picture here. Was he wearing the same shirt there, Anthony? I think. Do you see the shirt he's wearing?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No? Well, but I will tell you, I don't like funerals. I don't like viewing people, but I had no problem viewing Benny and saying goodbye, Benny. You know, you're going to be with Aurelia Green, who was one of his mentors. And the person who's most hurt by Benny's loss is our new borough president, Vanessa Gibson. All right. She was very close with Benny. And Benny was the one who helped to get elected. He was the district leader of the 77th Assembly District. Vanessa Gibson was running for assembly then. And Benny worked so hard on her campaign that he lost his district leadership. He didn't concentrate on his own race. He won it back 2 years later, but Benny was all for the party. Okay. I never really went up against him. I know you did, Anthony, and I want you to speak once I'm done. But Benny was the one thing Benny did was Benny and another person, John Sicaro Jr., came up to me at a forum for Rafael Salamanca and said, gee, Mr. Press, you're up for reappointment. You better watch out, because I was not supporting Rafael Salamanca. I was with a different person, Mr. John Perez. And lo and behold, like I said on this show, Ruben Diaz Jr. was a good old country boy, county boy, and didn't reappoint me. And he didn't appoint me to Community Board 11 because, you know what? If I was on Community Board 11, this thing about White Plains Road would come out in October. We would have been fighting in October, de Blasio or not, had I been on Community Board 11. I'm telling you that now. Okay? So you could also blame Ruben Diaz Jr. for this mess, because it would have come out in October if I was on that board. It wouldn't last. It wouldn't have waited for a new mayor to come in. Anthony, do you want to say anything about Benny?
Yeah, I do. The best way for me to describe Benny for me is one operative versus another operative. And I say that in the most humble of respects. It's almost equivalent to a football game where you have two teams, regardless of what their records are, regardless of how the game is played. But at the end of the game, you'll see them come and hug each other and shake hands with each other because of the love of the game and the love of the battle. Benny, as far as I feel about him, was a 2-decade, probably a little bit more, but a 2-decade plus what I would call South Bronx-based political operative, and a good one. And of course, being more of a northern-based operative myself, there would be areas in the neutral area where Benny and I would see each other. And of course, during those times, off and on during the course of 20 years, we had very wonderful battles equated to the football playoffs that you just seen in the last couple of weeks. But I can also say I attended his wake the other day
We went together.
Solely to wish him well and congratulate him. Like I said, I think being a football player in the political battle, he was very good, and needed to know that. And I'm glad, and I hope today the Bronx politics rejoices in that. It will be someone truly missed in more ways than one.
Yes, well, this was Benny's way of apologizing to me for what happened, and I accepted it, and we became friends again, okay? Because Benny was a good strategist, and, I did pick up a few things from Benny. Now, as far as Jamal Bailey goes, the county leader, he has lost Benny, he's lost his chief of staff, his communications director, and he's got a new office. Well, Jamal, I'm 2 blocks from your office. I may not know exactly what Benny did, but I'm very close to what Benny did, and you saw it. Just ask Stanley Schlein. He'll tell you about the 2018 challenge of the Koreans Reyes petition. I had her off the ballot, and Stanley basically, was amazed at how well my job was. So, Jamal, if you want to hire me or talk to me, I'm here. Because you know what? I'm not with you, I'll be against you, and I don't think you want me against you. I can wind up challenging your petition, among others. Okay, so I'm planning on doing work, and anybody out there who's running, if you want to hire me to challenge your competitors, I'm here.
Wait a second, Bob. Wait a second. Does that mean, since you're looking for hiring opportunities, does that mean that you are not running for male district leader?
I fully haven't decided on that yet.
Well, you sounded like you decided on job opportunities.
Well, the slates are being formed. Both Mr. Sierra and Mr. Sacaro Jr. spoke to me, and I said, call me over the weekend. And we'll see if either one or both calls me and offers me anything on their slate. Okay, like I said, Mr. Sierra is running for his district leadership. He may want me as his assembly candidate, for all I know, or state committee. Mr. Zaccaro Jr. is undecided what he wants to run for. If he wants to run for assembly, he may say, hey, why don't you become my district leader candidate? I don't know. All right, or I may not run or run a bullet petition by myself. Right now, I see Remy Salas on Natalia Fernandez's petition. We have Marco Sierra running for re-election. He said he was very surprised he was still in the district. And as you know, Anthony, we spoke about this last night. He's 1 block from the cutoff line now. All right. And both of us know, and he even knows, I said to him, yeah, but they're voting tonight. Tonight, you could be moved over 1 block and you'll be in the 81st. So he's running. And there's Sammy Ravello, who ran for borough president twice and he spent a lot of money. When I said to him, are you running for assembly? He wanted to run for assembly. I have no money, Sammy said. And it seems that Mr. Cabrera, because I can't say councilman anymore, but I can say former Councilman Cabrera, seems to be pushing Sammy to run for male district leader on a ticket with John Zaccaro Jr. as the assembly candidate. Well, no problem. I'll just knock that petition off. Okay? I'm for hire. I'm like you, Anthony. What is your slogan, Anthony? I'm for hire. Okay?
I can only say in regards to slogans, and I think it was the Norwood News that said it in 2013, that we are hired mercenaries.
Correct. And that's exactly what I was in 2018.
But now, wait a minute now. You can't be a hired mercenary and run for office.
Well, yes, you can. Look at all the electors that are there.
Wow, okay. Wow.
Look at the people who are there.
Oh, okay.
How many of those have challenged other candidates?
No. That's not being a hired mercenary. That's just giving the order. The hired mercenary is the one that jumps in the water and goes.
No, I know. But
yeah, like I said, you can't do both.
No, I may not run. I like this job of being a media person. I get to do things. I get to be in places. that other people aren't.
So if Jamal Bailey was in front of you right now, knowing your expertise, and also knowing you can't do but one job 100% effectively, which one would you ask him for?
Which one would I ask him for?
Mm-hmm.
He can have the district leadership, okay?
But what job would you ask him for?
What would I ask him for? Political director.
Okay.
All right, if Dan Johnson did it, I'm a hell of a lot better than Dan Johnson.
Okay.
Or his other people that were there, okay? And, you know, what would you think I would be? All right, what do you think I should ask him for?
Well, you know, Bob, I've always said to you more off the air than on that, you know, being a reporter and being in the political waters are a very delicate balance.
Right.
I personally think you might be good at political director. I also think you would be good as communications director.
Right.
But again, I say that saying that you can't do both. That if you had to choose one, which one would it be?
Well, again, don't forget, the last election I ran in was 25 years ago. It was on the Independence Party line when they became a new party under Dominic Fusco, asked me to run. And he said, well, okay, we'll put you on the petition, you'll withdraw, and we'll substitute someone else. Well, it got to be that when it was time to withdraw, they told me a day late, and I wound up on the ballot. And I had fun running against Assemblyman Dinowitz. It was a new experience, but that's really where I learned politics. And you know what? In those 25 years, I learned that Jeffrey Dinowitz, while he may have a few faults, was very much concerned about the community, all right, that he represented. We had other elected officials, and it was basically a base in Riverdale, and everybody saw the power in Riverdale. However,
how about now, Bob? 25 years later, you now have Jeffrey Dinowitz still in office. You have two candidates that are now come out against him, Mr. George Diaz and Jessica Wilford. Jessica Wilford was just endorsed by, I believe it's called Citizens for Change. 25 years later, what do you think about Riverdale today?
What do I think about it? Riverdale has evolved as the rest of the Bronx has evolved. It's become more, how can I say it, more in tune with the rest of the Bronx. It needs to go more if it's to be in tune with the rest of the Bronx. But you have an exclusive area, much like you have Country Club. You know, you have certain areas of, like in Brooklyn, where Mayor de Blasio lives. It's a certain area. You know, you have certain areas where the quote unquote rich people live, you know, or those who can afford it. All right. Because if we look at affordable housing and, you know, remember that empty lot across the street from our favorite restaurant, Salvatore's of Soho on Riverdale Avenue in Riverdale at 238th Street. Remember that restaurant, Tony? You love his meatballs and spaghetti. Okay. Across the street is an empty lot that was supposed to be a Montefiore building in 2013. Well, Mario, who owns Salvatore's of Soho on Riverdale Avenue, called me and said, hey, there's a guy from Stag Developers looking at the site. And you know what? When I spoke to city planning years ago, I was told a 20-story building could be built on that site. As long as...
Are you curious about financial literacy? Then take a look at Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO's new program on Parrot TV. It's called Financial Focus University. This is an excellent program to learn about questions related to your own finances post-COVID, and how you can manage your money, how you can work with your tax situation. And this is an excellent and informative discussion of financial literacy. With Professor Anthony RIVIECCIO, your financial problems will be solved at Parrot TV with Financial Focus University. Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer. This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely convince you.